Hello, welcome to another recent reads. I am keeping on top of these, and I actually am reading enough to make it count. I also have a teeny tiny little book haul to include here, so let us just kick off with the books I bought since the last time we talked. Sorry if you can hear some creaking. I have moved things around in my room a little bit, so the spot I stand on is very creaky. Anyways, first book that I bought, this is my June Aardvark book. I got Sublimation by Isabel Kim. I have been very much looking forward to this. This is a story based on a short story she wrote a couple years ago where when you emigrate to another country, you leave a copy of you behind, and this character, her grandfather, who is in South Korea, dies, and when she goes back to South Korea to attend his funeral, the copy of her does not want to let her go. So very excited for this one. Isabel J. Kim has really been making a name for herself in sci-fi fantasy circles, so yes, very excited about this one. Next, I have The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. I bought this because my local bookstore just had their 1-year anniversary. Of course, I had to buy something. The owner, when I grabbed this, said she really liked this. I did like Ashley Winstead's novel In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, and I've had this one kind of on my radar for a little bit now since it came out, essentially, and I've been like kind of seesawing in terms of like whether I would like it, but I took it on her recommendation and to support the store, so I will read this pretty soon. Actually, I am kind of craving this kind of like intense thriller, so we'll see if I get to this soon. Let's call it book haul going into recent reads because there's another book that I've already read. So Deadweight by Hildur Knútsdóttir. I actually had an arc of this. I am behind. I'm getting behind in my arcs, but I was always going to buy a finished copy of this book. I am a very tiny bit of the way through. I don't even know if you can see the bookmark. I am a very tiny bit of the way through. And yeah, I am enjoying it so far. I just got very caught up in another book, as you will see, but getting back to this one this weekend. Hopefully we'll finish it this weekend. The last of my book haul, A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Ayinde. This is a fantasy novel, and I read it in like 3-4 days. I bought it and I read it immediately, so we're gonna set that aside because I'm gonna talk about a book from the last my recent reads that I was reading, Witch Queen Rising by Savannah Stevens. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. This is a Black urban fantasy, paranormal fantasy, if you would like. Features this main character who, in this world, there is this like powerful like magical force, and one person is imbued with that force and is like the Witch Queen of New Orleans. And at the beginning of the novel, she is imbued with that force and is forced to go back home. She has been gone for like 10-12 years, and she is kind of like the black sheep coming home. She's known in the community as the Tick Witch because she has a magical power that basically saps magic from others, and she got a very bad reputation from that at a very young age when she couldn't control her powers. So she's dealing with that reputation. She's dealing with stepping into very big shoes because the previous witch queen was her mother, and there is very much dealing with very toxic familial relationships in this. And I would say a lot of this is half and half, dealing with the magic and this world, and half very interesting character study and dealing with the character, what's her name? Seraphine. Fiend's very complicated emotions with being forced to come home, facing her sister, facing the legacy that her mother left behind, facing the all kinds of abuse that she was subjected to, facing an old romantic partner that she really was in love with but had to abandon, and everything that went down between them. I said in the last video that it would have to do something very immensely tragic to bring it down from a 4-star. It did not do that. I think part of me was a little taken aback by kind of the turn that something takes in the way of creating a big bad for Fiend to go up against. That felt a little weird. The way it happened felt weird, but once it happened, like shit got dark. It got real dark and very interesting, and I really liked how it ended, and I'm very much looking forward to book 2 in this duology. If you want an urban fantasy, paranormal fantasy, you want something interesting, this is not steamy. Maybe it is. There's like a scene, I think, and I tend to gloss over those a lot, so I don't remember exactly how steamy it was, but there's like a scene. But and like romance is part of it, but it's not the point of it. So I would not call this a romantasy. It is not a romantasy. It is an urban fantasy or a paranormal fantasy. Very black. Everybody in this is black. Even the Fae are black. It's wonderful. I very much enjoyed this. I'm very glad this exists. 4 stars. Okay. Yes. 4 stars. I do wish I could give this a little higher rating, but like my enjoyment of it is like 4.5. But overall, I'm gonna say 4 stars because this has the what's the word? Potential. That's the word. This has the potential to be a really amazing trilogy when it finishes. I think it's a trilogy. Yeah, Invoker trilogy. This has the potential to be an amazing trilogy. This first book is a little clunky to me, but I was enjoying myself so hard I did not care. So, A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Ayinde. This is a fantasy novel, kind of sci, but mostly fantasy. We have this secondary world. We're following characters who live in these lands. They're very kind of like, they feel kind of, I want to say, okay, all of the like time civilization terms I want to use are so Western coded when this is very African coded. So in my head I want to say medieval, but medieval means different things in Eastern Europe than it did in Africa. This is a world where there is no modern technology, but there kind of is. There's stuff called tech work, but it is forbidden. Whenever people find it, they're supposed to take it to the priest so it can be cleansed. But people obviously do use tech work in small ways, you know, hidden from the rulers. There are a class of people who use tech work secretly because that's always the case. So there's the mystery of what tech work is. And then as these people, there are what they're called gray bloods who seem to be kind of like half robot, human kind of situations. There is this previous civilization that they know that was destroyed at some point, and that's where all the tech work comes from. The tech work, maybe the Greybloods are connected. It's all a whole thing. So there is this like background for us in our modern day mystery of like, okay, what is tech work? Some of the tech work like makes sense in our minds. Are like, okay, that's robotics, you know, stuff like that. It's technology, but they're using it in terms like glass like panels, black panels, which I assume are similar to like TV screens. That's like black glass. The veins of gray bloods are fucking cords, cables, stuff like that. So there's this whole like mystery in the back of my mind the whole time, like, what is it? Is it our world? And this is like in the far-flung future, but no, it is a secondary world, I'm pretty sure. So it's just so interesting. So we actually follow a whole host of characters. We do have like 2 to 3, maybe 4 characters who are our main characters, but we do follow a bunch of other characters around them. Kind of felt a little like Brandon Sanderson-y in that way, where you're following different characters and each character is kind of in a different part of the lands, but each character is, you know, working on whatever is going on with them, and eventually things slowly click into place as the plot, you know, moves along. I had a good time with this. The writing is very good. It is just kind of fucking straightforward, propulsive. There's a lot of really good writing in terms of the world building. Oh, and then invokers. So then there are noble families, of course, high bloods, low bloods. There are noble families who can invoke the spirit of their ancestor. These invokers, they get a connection to the ancestor and they can call upon the ancestor, and it's like basically like calling. In my mind, I envisioned it like this, like a hologram, but that is physical because this ancestor can come and fight for them. Like it's very physical in terms of its fighting. It's just the whole thing. So there's a mystery of like what actually invoking is, and it's supposed to be only for these high bloods and these noble families. But you know, that's not how things always are. And of course, you know, noble families are lying to everybody, etc., etc. So there are a lot of really good fantasy themes and tropes going through this. but wrapped up in like this really cool, new, interesting world. I'm very glad that the second book is already out. I think they came out in paperback already. This is already hefty paperback, and I want to read them, you know, in paperback like this. I love these. Is this Saga? Yeah, I love these Saga paperbacks. They're hefty, but they feel good when you're reading them, and they're flappy. So this was a surprisingly fun read that I read immediately after buying it. I was reading, you know, the first few chapters at the bookstore, and I was like, ah, yes, okay, I am buying it. And then I just kept reading it. I had a 4-day weekend with friends. We went out to the desert, and we just literally just rented Airbnb and hung out for 3.5 days. And I had the full intention of taking like 3 or 4 novellas to read by the pool. That did not happen because I was just reading this. So I had a lot of fun with this. 4 stars. I am definitely going to buy book 2 immediately and probably read it immediately. So yeah, check it out if you haven't already. This is just a really cool secondary world fantasy that everyone should check out. All right, that is my stack. That is my recent reads. That is everything that I have to talk about, what I bought, what I've been reading. Yeah, I don't have anything. It's just recent reads. Let me know what you thought about what I've read, what you've been reading recently, and that is it. As always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.